The trouble for Vault just seems to be never ending, right? What just happened? Well, the Indian Enforcement Directorate just froze assets of one of Vault's related companies. What does that mean for you? We'll try and answer that today. We'll look at four questions today. What happened? What does that mean for Vault and for you? What would this mean for the Nexo deal, and what would happen to your money, right? Because this is what probably all of you are concerned about. I'll try and see what I can answer based on my understanding of this whole scenario. Let's start with this. Vault just had a seizure of 46 million worth of crypto and bank balance assets in India. The Enforcement Directorate seized all this. The company confirmed in a press release. However, they only mentioned that crypto assets in pool wallets to the tune of about 20 million have been frozen, but they did not go ahead and mention that they also had their bank balance frozen. If you look at the statement that the Indian Federal Agency just released, in the statement they clearly say that bank and payment gateway balances worth about 164 crores, which roughly translates to about little over $20 million, and crypto assets are worth about 203 crores, which is roughly again about 25 million or a little more than 25 million dollars are frozen till this entire fund trail that they are investigating is sorted. Right. So what happened? Well, there was one particular user of Vault called Yellow Tune Technologies, which was involved in probably some sort of a money laundering, right? And that particular company used Vault as a way to sort of take money out of the country. Right? The complete details of all this is not really very clear, but however, what essentially has happened is that this company has transferred a large amount to the tune of about 370 crore, and this is what equivalent amount of money is what the Indian agencies have frozen in Vault's assets. So what does that mean for you? Let's look at this. Let's look at the few scenarios leading up to this. Firstly, there are two agencies. Two companies, right? One is DeFi Payments, which is essentially the Singaporean entity. The other one is FlipVault, which is the Indian subsidiary. So whatever is frozen, I believe, is of FlipVault. However, these two are related. What does that mean? Well, DeFi Payments is a creditor to FlipVault. FlipVault's liabilities are assets to DeFi Payments. So even if you're an INR holder, or even if you're somebody with crypto assets in Vault and you have to withdraw it, well, all of you are stuck. All of you are in the soup. 20 million in crypto assets are frozen. Who does this belong to? Not sure if it's entirely of FlipVaults or is it actually DeFi Payments. No idea of that. If it is of DeFi Payments, or at least partially it should be of DeFi Payments, because anyway DeFi Payments is a creditor to FlipVault. In any case, DeFi Payments is affected by the 20 million worth of crypto assets that are frozen, and the 26 million worth of bank balances that are frozen. That probably belongs to FlipVault. Those are the INR balances, probably, not exactly sure, but broadly 46 million is frozen. And what does that mean? The wait just got longer for INR holders, because cases like these take a long time to solve. Even to get your assets frozen, it does take quite some time. Now, FlipVault owes money to DeFi Payments. That means it's not just the INR holders, even users of Vault who probably belong to the DeFi payment side of things are also stuck. What's going to happen to the Nexo deal? Well, here's the actual problems, right? Let's start from the beginning. Let's understand this a bit. Vault has assets of about 330 million. That's what was declared, I believe, in some previous post. Liabilities of about 400 or 402 million dollars. The gap is about 72 million. So how do they get there? What is that like? What led them there? Well, the problem seemed to be that they had staked about 28 million in Luna's stablecoin Terra. Bankruptcy of Vault's borrowers. I had mentioned in my earlier video that not all the assets of Vault are safe, because there could be some users who might go bankrupt, who might default. Well, a few of them have already happened. That's about 1.7 million. They have signed sponsorship agreements about 6 million. There was a loss due to a bug in their software. That's about 4.5 million. And mark-to-market losses. These are paper losses. What this essentially means is they hold some crypto assets like Bitcoin and so on. The market value has come down, and hence it's a paper loss, not a realized loss. I believe this number, though, I'm not sure. right? I'm just trying to bridge the gap to see if that is what adds up to 72 million. I don't know if there's more, but these things at least were certain because it's mentioned in this particular article by block the block. Yeah, this particular article by block, you can go ahead and check it. I have linked the article in the description. All the information that I have taken for this analysis is from that particular article. Now let's look at the asset side. Vault has about 330 million in assets. In that, 287.7 million is held in terms of some coins. Is that 20 million that was frozen in India as part of this? Not exactly sure. They have bank balances of about 42.3 million. Now, this does not really change in value, but that does not mean that they're not using it, right? Because they have to pay a legal fee, they have to pay their employees. So, they probably have to pay their office. There are everyday costs that anyway Vault has to incur. Maybe this is being drained out for that. We don't know. Now let's think of Nexo. Nexo might have to put up at least 90 million, right? Because there's already 70 million gap, and then this 20 million that was frozen in India. If we assume that is also part of DeFi payments and that belongs to DeFi payments, then there's a gap of at least 90 million that Nexo would have to put up, to close all liabilities. The actual cost might be much higher because we're not looking at legal fee, we're not looking at employee costs, we're not looking at this bank balance that could have already been drained. So the actual cost on Nexo might be much higher, well over $100 million. So the question is it really worth it for Nexo? Right? Let's look at this. Nexo, what does Nexo get? If Nexo acquires Vault, does it get the Vault brand? Yes, it does, but is it worth it? And would you ever trust Vault after something like this? No, you wouldn't. The brand is worthless, right? It's worthless, and it's not worth $100 million, or it's not worth any part of this $100 million, right? So that's a big no-no, right? Let's put that in red, right? That's a big no-no. Then there is the Vault users, right? You guys, is Nexo investing so that they don't have to acquire you again? Honestly, at the second Vault allows you to withdraw money, would you withdraw or would you continue your users? I'm sure all of you will withdraw. That's most likely what's going to happen. If that happens, nobody is ever going to come back, right? Users are going to try and withdraw their money and never going to come back. There's Vault's technology, right? While this might seem okay, right? Let's say Vault's technology might be great and all that, but is Vault's technology worth about $100 million or so for Nexo to invest into it? Not really. You can hire a bunch of developers, recreate it for at a fraction of a cost, right? Probably at a fraction of $1 million, you can get it recreated. It's not really worth that much. So the way I see it, Nexo deal isn't going through. Right? I mostly think it's not going through because it just doesn't make sense. I've been I used to work for a family office earlier, and as being on the investing side of things, I would never invest in anything like this. And I don't think Nexo is going to take any risk to do this because there are several government agencies also involved in so many investigations. There are it's not just the fact that there was a market loss, you did something wrong in terms of your investments. There is also cases of KYC negligence and so on that is being investigated right now, and because of that it does not seem likely that Nexo would be interested. And any of their other plans, right, like raising money from other VCs, raising money from other potential investors, some acquisition, in giving you equity, raising money for some new tokens and so on, not happening, right? Any of that does not seem of any value. And honestly, even if they do give you some tokens, which is most likely the case, what would happen then? In that case, it's as good as you would like sell it immediately the second you're able to sell it. So in any case, it comes down to a simple fact that you might recover only a bit of money. Let's see what that means for you, right? What now for you? The liabilities are about $402 million. This is split between two kinds of users, right? One is the secured creditors, two kinds of creditors. Secured creditors have about 39 million. Unsecured creditors, right, that is you guys, have about 363 million as retail users. Now these secured creditors belong to essentially FTX trading and another counterparty, I guess, whose name was not mentioned. That's roughly 39 million, and because these guys are secured, it means that they get first priority. They get their entire money back. So whatever assets are left with Vault, they would have to sell them to pay these guys back. So this 39 million is going back for sure. And then that leaves you guys with $363 million of that. Let's look at this. They have assets of 330 million. 39 million is given to the secured creditors. 20 million is frozen. Assuming that belongs to this, 20 million is frozen. That leaves about 271 million. Then there is legal fees that Vault has to pay both in India and probably in Singapore as well because of all the big law firms that they have hired, and that's not cheap. There's employee cost that's ongoing. There's office costs, right? They probably have an office here in India. They probably have some sort of an office in Singapore. I'm not sure, but if they do have some office or whatever, there is a cost for that. Then there could be some other costs that I did not really see anywhere, but there could be some other costs, right? How much do these things add up to? We're not really sure. It could be, let's say, another $20 million, right? That leaves about 250 million. 250 million, that should be returned to maybe users who are collectively owned about 360 million. That's about 68%, and I think it's not even that much. I think you'll get back maybe 50%, right? 50%, maybe 50% if this goes well. If the markets don't tank anymore, if there are many traders or many analysts who are now saying that Bitcoin could go down, right? It's a suckers rally right now. That Bitcoin going up right now is a suckers rally, and it could go down again. There is the Fed's increase in interest rates coming again in September. If that increase happens, it could be 0.5%, it could be 0.75%. But if that happens again, then there is a chance that the crypto market as such could go down, which means the assets held by Vault could shrink. So even 50% recovery is on a very optimistic road. It's very optimistic that maybe 50% recovery can happen at this stage, and this is what I personally think is how this whole scenario is going. In my previous video, I analyzed a number of scenarios in terms of who could get how much, minimum withdrawals, what could happen in different withdrawal scenarios that they could give on. Now you can go and watch all that as well to see what could happen in each case. But broadly, I think that a 50% recovery might be the best case possible, and when will that happen, not really sure, because of so many things that are really happening. But as the news comes in, I'll try and make more videos. But for now, this is really what I think might really happen. If I've missed out some information, or if you think that I'm wrong somewhere in my analysis, do comment below and I will try to go through it and probably make another video with more information that you guys have provided. Until then, like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it, and welcome to the Wave Crypto Club. We'll keep making such amazing videos. We do in-depth analysis of anything in crypto, from tokens to price analysis and so on. So do subscribe and stay tuned for all the new updates coming in.